So we're sitting at the top of a new year. And a lot of people came into this new year with ambitions of doing better with their finances. This is going to be the year where they turn their finances around. And one thing we know for sure, one thing that you teach is that in order to achieve any of these financial goals that we have for ourselves, we're going to have to start with organization before we start trying to execute on any financial in particular strategies. So for the people that are listening that have that desire for this to be the year that they begin the journey of turning their finances around, what are some base level things that you would advise them to do to get organized first?
So, the first thing that I always tell people is to look at your habits. What are you doing on a daily basis in order to reach your overall goals? Most of us have these really big goals, right? We want to save $20,000. We start with these really, really huge goals, but we don't have the small things, the small habits in place that will help us to actually work toward those goals. So, what are the things that you can do on a daily basis that will actually help you get closer and closer to the things that you want? If saving more money is one of the things that you want to do, the very first thing that you need to do is say, okay, I want to save how much? Set that first amount. How much do you want to save? Then you're going to think about what's the habit that's going to help me get there. Every single time I get paid on a Friday, I'm going to transfer $50 into my account. You have to think it through. You have to think about the routine and the habit that you're going to put in place that is going to help you achieve that overall goal. Because the goal is a great system that, the thing that you want to achieve. But the basis of that goal is the habits and the routines that you need to put in place. When are you going to do it? And what are you going to do? And how often do you have to complete that habit? If you decide that you're going to do this one thing every single week in order to achieve that goal, and you put it on that calendar and you check it off every single time that you do it, you're going to be more likely to actually do it.
Yeah. Do you recommend, especially while people are starting out, not to have too many goals, to create too many habits? Is there a certain amount that maybe people should focus on? And I guess part B of the question is, should people focus more on savings before paying off debt?
Yeah, so first part is you should not have too many. One thing with creating good habits is you have to understand your cue, the action, and reward. That's the first thing, like the setup of that habit. So the setup of that habit is what is going to be the first thing that cues me to actually do the habit. If you want to floss more, every time I brush my teeth, which is a habit that I already have, I'm going to floss right afterwards, right? That's the cue. The cue is brushing the teeth, and then you're going to, right after that, floss. So you have to know what your cues are going to be in order for you to actually do the habit on a consistent basis. The next thing that you have to figure out is how are you going to reward yourself for actually doing those particular habits. If I cue myself that I'm going to floss, every time I floss, then I'm going to buy a new book or do something or, have an extra 20 minutes on social media. It doesn't have to be anything really, really big. It just has to be something that you enjoy so that you're encouraging yourself to continue to do those habits. The other thing that you really, really need to think about when you're creating habits is you really need to lean in on the habits that you already have. So it's really easy when we call it habit stacking. It's really easy to add a new habit to something that you're already doing, to a habit that you already have. And this encourages you to actually complete the new habits that you want to form. So you can't do too many of them, right? Because if you do too many of them, now you're trying to remember all of these different things. I like to recommend that you're not trying to do any more than 4 new ones and you're attaching them to old habits that you already have. So think about the ones that you already have. I'm already brushing my teeth. I'm already working out. I'm already doing this. And then think about the new one that you could possibly attach right after that one. Since you're already doing the older ones, it makes it much easier to adapt new ones and don't do any more than 4.
And then savings. Do you recommend that creating the habit of saving prior to paying off debt? So is it healthy to create good habits around saving money first? Or do you do a little bit of mixture of both?
So currently I am doing a mixture of both, but I do encourage saving first. And I do have a story of why. So the main reason why I encourage saving first is when me and my husband first started our financial journey, I was like really, really strong about paying off debt. I'm gonna pay off all of my debt. So at the time we had we had saved up to like $10,000, and I took 9,000 of it, and I'm gonna pay off the credit card. So that's what I did. I took 9,000, I paid off my credit card. I was so proud of myself. I did a video and everything. I was super excited. It's all on YouTube. And when I tell y'all, Murphy's Law came and sat on my house like maybe 2 months later. Our kitchen flooded. The water heater broke, our refrigerator broke, the car broke down. This is all in a span of 5 months. And it cost us about $5,000 by the time it was over to get everything done. I mean, it was one thing after the other, and I had no money. I had no cash. So we had to take that same credit card that I had just paid off and charge all of these different things, the car repairs, we had to charge everything to get everything back fixed. So in that process, I realized very quickly how much I needed cash on hand. And so the second time that, because now I don't have any cash in the bank and my credit card is back up to $5,000, $6,000. So I'm in a worse position than when I was, and I actually had $10,000 in the bank. So the second go around, I decided that I was going to prioritize saving, and we got up to like 5,000, 6,000, and then I started to pay down debt. I waited to make sure that we had enough to cover our average emergency expense, which for us was around $3,000, $4,000. We're a family of 4. That's just, when we looked at our history, that's what usually would happen. And we saved that amount, and then I started paying down debt. So anytime anyone tells me that they want to take all of their savings and put it toward debt, I tell them that story. And I tell them, please don't do it. Just keep your savings, and then you can work on debt. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You don't have to rush to be debt free.